Read some really good matches over here as well. So,
my
the entire
tablet's
day is
pretty much
filled
5%,
with all
but
kinds of
it's
really
fine. I'm
close
charging
matches, all
it. I
kinds of
hope it
pressure-filled
stays.
matches, and
So
just
yeah.
some really cool, unique teams. We've already seen some Kecleon, we've seen some Arcanine, we've seen some pretty unique things being used effectively, which has been not surprising because you expect to see some of these non-restricted Pokemon be kind of unique, have some kind of tricks up their sleeve, but those exact Pokemon, who would have thought before the tournament we'd see a Kecleon?
Absolutely not me. Maybe only some people in Asia thought that Kecleon would be able to work from his region.
Yeah, from what I've heard, that Kecleon is maybe a little popular in that region. So maybe that's kind of one of those regional differences that you kind of see at tournaments like Worlds, where you've got players from a whole bunch of different countries. Each region kind of has its own metagame. Maybe Kecleon is favored in one region, maybe in another region Arcanine's more favored, maybe in a totally different region Volcarona's favored. There's a whole lot of differences between regions and what kind of Pokemon they like, what kind of style they like to play, and that's what's really interesting about spectating Worlds.
Yeah, that's absolutely one of the most fascinating parts of Worlds as a spectator and as a former mediocre player, seeing all of these other much better players, the way that they think about the game, things that I would never have caught in a million years.
You're selling yourself short, Evan.
Top cut a single regional once.
Hey, that's impressive. I mean, back then there were some tough opponents at that regional. You beat out me at that regional. I did not top cut that regional.
That is true. So in the only competition that Ray Rizzo and I have played in at the same time, I placed higher than he did.
And Aaron Cybertron Zeng.
Yeah. So I guess we probably just need to have a caster tournament to settle it once and for all.
I think we do.
Well, we may have a caster tournament sometime on our own time, but for right now, we are in the middle of round 3 of Worlds, and let's take a look at the format of the tournament so far. Of course, yesterday we did have our Swiss rounds, the first day of Swiss, so anyone who was X and 2 only had 2 losses or fewer yesterday did advance today. Here on this second phase, we are in the Saturday Swiss rounds. Everyone plays every round once again, and if you have 2 or fewer losses at the end of all 7 rounds of Swiss today, you will advance to the third phase, the single elimination top cut bracket. And that's, the top cut bracket is a little bit expanded this year, but it's still highly prestigious.
Yeah, normally we only top cut to 8, but this year we are going to cut everybody who has 2 or fewer losses. That's a big difference. You get to that single elimination portion of the tournament a little bit sooner, and you have more players making that final stage. And that's where you start to see a lot of pressure, a lot of the nerves start to come up again, because when you're on the brink of elimination like you are in the top cut, things can get to your head. You kind of, maybe you don't play as optimally. I can't even say it. I can't get it out of my mouth, Evan, but yeah.
And you haven't even been playing Pokemon, you've just been watching it.
Yeah, well, hey, when these matches are as intense as they are, I kind of lose my my voice trying to commentate all these crazy plays that keep happening. But yeah, when you get to that top cut portion, there's so many things that can go wrong, so many things in your mind that you're playing through over and over of things that can go wrong. Maybe this rock slide will miss, maybe I'll get paralyzed, maybe you're starting to remember some bad beats that happen, maybe some PTSD, maybe you see a Smeargle and you just think, oh, in round 3, no. Is this going to be just like round 3? But it's like, you got to forget all that, you got to be on your A game, and that's kind of why Top Cut kind of separates the very best from the best.
Yep. And we will cut to Top Cut later today after all of our rounds of Swiss conclude. So that's a little bit about how the tournament itself works. The game we are playing, as you may have noticed from Professor Scott's intro video, if you're just joining us this weekend, is a little bit different from what you might be used to. A lot of different Pokemon are used. Unfortunately, there are some Pokemon you cannot use. We do have a ban list in effect in this tournament, which is basically most of the Pokemon that you may have received in events. So Pokemon like Mew, like Arceus, like Victini, like Manaphy, even Phione that you may have received in an event are not able to be used here at the tournament.
Yeah, but you will still see Darkrai's presence in this tournament because Smeargle is everywhere, and Smeargle being able to copy any Pokemon's moves, Darkrai's signature move, Dark Void, will still be seen in this tournament because it's just such a strong move. Having Smeargle, being able to put both of your opponent's Pokemon to sleep, it's such a game-breaking move, and that can single-handedly win games. Just getting a double Dark Void off onto your opponent, it's so hard to come back when you're facing Pokemon as powerful as Groudon, or Pokemon that can set up and devastate you as much as something like a Xerneas.
Yeah, so while the Nightmare Pokemon may not be in-game, many of our players will be leaving with nightmares after coming across that Smeargle. So here are, however, a bunch of Pokemon that have previously not been allowed that are allowed. The restricted Pokemon. So these are some of the strongest Pokemon in the game that we decided, why not? Let's see what happens if we throw them back into the mix here. But only 2 of them. Let's not go too crazy.
Yeah, so a lot of times we'll see Pokemon like the Primals, Kyogre and Groudon, because their stats are just so good. Their weather is such a useful weather for each of them, boosting the power of their moves, but then they have other effects. Kyogre's Rain prevents fire moves from working, and then Groudon's Sun prevents water moves from working. Groudon being a ground fire type, he doesn't want to get hit by water moves at all, so his ability really helps Groudon out. But then you see some other Pokemon, Rayquaza, we've seen a lot this weekend. Xerneas, doesn't even need words. Xerneas has been everywhere all season long. And then you'll see some more unique choices like Eviltal, which we have seen a little bit of.
Actually.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of Eviltal this weekend, and we have in the past too. Over in Europe, Arashi Madi did win Nationals with Eviltal, so it's certainly a good Pokemon. It's just compared to Xerneas, which counters it so hard. That's kind of why players tend to shy away from Eviltal. But we do see it sometimes, and we already have on stream throughout this weekend. I expect we will see it at least a couple more times today.
Yeah, and this might actually be one of those tournaments where we could get a substantial number of Eviltal players in the top cut.